MPTV, Matt Piper, the soccer mentor. How you all doing? Hope you're well. Hope things are going good for you. Let me drill down into this tactics board for the first real time and bring you an episode on number 10s, playing the position of number 10 or attacking midfielder. That one just in behind. So that question came in from Mikey on Twitter, and he wanted me to talk. I've set it up a little bit here, guys. The Reds are going to be, I'm going with a 4 at the back. Here's your point striker. Think of Henry, Giroud. This is the area I like to see my number 10 working. All right? This is the area. All right? In front of the back 4 and behind the midfield. This is the area that I like to see him working. Alright, all in this area. I don't like to see him too pull wide. Not really. I mean, there is guys that do it and do it well, but I like to see my number 10 working in this area. And my favourite number 10 of all time, I mean, there's been loads over the years. I mean, Rooney, I've talked to you about Rooney. I love him in this position, especially 3 or 4 years ago. There's some real great. Kaká was one of my favourites. Rivaldo. A lot of these players worked in this area here and did their most damage in this area here. Today, I'm going to talk about this position, about my all-time favourite number 10. Zola was brilliant at this position as well, but my all-time favourite number 10 was this guy. Yes, Mr. Well, let's not call him Mr. Let's call him Sir Dennis Bergkamp. Loved him. I've been an Arsenal fan all my life. I'm not biased. He's a wonderful, wonderful number 10. And he played this position so well. And the two partners he had as well, he also, I think, made them into better players. Ian Wright, first of all, and then later on when he came to the club, Thierry Henry. Wonderful, wonderful number 10. He patrolled this area so well that we speak about. He dropped in off the defence, just in behind the midfield of the opposing team, picked the ball up there, always had the ball on the half turn. All right, we're going to talk about that in a little while. Always had the ball on the half turn. Every time he received the ball, he had painted them pictures in his mind. He had got into a space on the pitch where he could receive the ball, pressure free, giving them 2, 3, 4 seconds to be able to pick a pass or pick a slide ball or bring his midfielders into play or his wingers into play. He was a wonderful, wonderful number 10, and I can't sing his praises enough. Probably one of my all-time favourite footballers. Zidane was also great at this position. It's a toss-up for me between Zidane and Bergkamp. I'm going to look at Bergkamp just because I actually seen him live. I've seen him score some amazing goals. I've seen him score the Arsenal hat-trick he scored against Leicester City. I was at the game when he brought the ball down, flicked it over Matt Elliott's head, half-volleyed it into the far top corner past Casey Keller. Wonderful goal. I've seen his goal at Newcastle. I've seen that live where the ball came into him. Davies' ass was too tight. I talk about painting pictures. That is exactly what I meant. He felt him. He could feel him. Robert Pires played it into him. Boom. Touched one side with his left foot. Spun the other way. Got the ball back on the other side. Finished into the corner. Wonderful, wonderful number 10. Let's talk about him. So, Mikey, the first thing I want to talk about with the number 10 is a massive attribute to have is when you've got the ball, is keeping the ball and moving it off centre. The worst thing a number 10 can do is receive the ball flat on and have this ball still. Alright? You're inviting this pressure from the opponent. You're inviting this pressure. Then you've got to get turned. All the time while you're doing that, these guys can push out, put more pressure on the ball. What Bergkamp used to do, and I always talk about, is receive the ball on his back foot. So he was already half turned and he was at the defence. Alright? If there wasn't a pass on straight away, Bergkamp could keep the ball. He could keep the ball, he could move it, pressure coming in from all angles. He would wait until Henry, Ian Wright made the run and he would slip the pass. Another thing Bergkamp was superb at, probably one of the best I've ever seen. Once again, receiving it on the back foot, getting turned at the defence immediately because he's received it on his back foot. These players, because they were scared of Ian Wright's pace or Henry's pace, would drop. So these defenders would drop, which allowed him the space. Bergkamp didn't need to take anyone on. And if the pass wasn't on, he'd shoot. Another thing the master was great at was not just receiving it in the pocket, this pocket that we talk about. Sometimes he didn't always receive it in there. When it wasn't on, maybe he was marked too tight, what he was very good at is coming away to make the run. I've read articles on Bergkamp and I've heard people speak about him. And what he used to say to his midfielders, his back four, he said, never rely on my first movement. Never try and hit me with my first movement. So if what he would do, he'd move away from the play, so they knew not to pass the ball, then he'd drag in the defender, and then he would make the run. Alright? Receiving the ball in behind. In between the lines. See that? There's the centre backs. He would move away from the ball, drag a defender with him to create the space, and then he would move in it for the pass to be played in. Another great thing that he taught me a lot, and remember I've studied this guy for years guys, another thing that he taught me a lot is Dennis Bergkamp, and this is why I always love to use him when I'm trying to coach young people how to play the number 10. He used to, sometimes when he didn't have it in this pocket, talk about this pocket, sometimes he would receive it even deeper. So if Bergkamp comes in here, if DB came in here and received the ball, once again, he'd always painted pictures so he could receive it on his back foot, and then all of a sudden, because he's deeper, he's looking for runners. He's looking for runners. So he's playing people in. He's playing between the lines, trying to get these people in, like Overmars back in the day for Arsenal. And when he had Ian Wright and he had Thierry Henry, sometimes he would receive the ball deep, they'd make their move, and then he knew where they were going to go. So he'd play that ball in. And he was a quarterback of the Premier League. So think of quarterbacks in American football, that's what Dennis Bergkamp was. Unbelievable at finding his teammates. Spoke about it many times before. When he's receiving the ball, you would never ever see Dennis Bergkamp receive the ball with his chest facing the player that he's coming from. He's always here, side on, receives the ball, back foot. So important, guys, when I tell you about back foot. Alright? Back foot. So now we've moved up into the 18-yard box, in and around the 18-yard box. Ball was wide. Say the ball's wide. If you watch Dennis Bergkamp and a lot of great number 10s, here's your main striker, he's in the box waiting, ready. Here's one of the other midfielders. Here's your wide man. Here's your other wide man. Here's your sitting central midfielder, or here. Dennis Bergkamp used to allow play to advance him, alright, especially when the ball was wide and in dangerous crossing areas like this. And these players are panicking so much to protect this area, they all pack themselves in here. Dennis Bergkamp used to make some great late runs. When he did used to get into the penalty area, it used to become so ice cold, it was unbelievable. And 9 times out of 10, maybe more than that, maybe 10 times out of 10, Dennis Bergkamp would always choose the right option. If he had space and time, he would shoot, he'd hit the target 5, 6, 7, 8 times out of 10 he would score. But in other situations where he was surrounded, he'd always make the right decision and play the right balls and staying calm in front of goal. You would never see Dennis Bergkamp panic and strike over the bar or screw it wide. He would always pick the right option. If he needed to beat a man and shoot, he would. If he saw someone else in a better position, he would. He'd play the ball simple. Alright? Keeping things simple, once you get into goal scoring situations and choosing the right option, is a massive, massive point of a number 10. If you're a number 10, you can't just think about moving this way, alright? In behind or toward the ball. They're not the only positions you can talk about. A great number 10 will also move laterally. He'll move laterally to create space, move people with him, and then he can get into the areas that he's created the space for. Quick point on that one. If you're making a diagonal run, say this is Pires. If you're making a diagonal run, it can be a straight pass. Always remember this, guys. This is an important one. If you make a straight run, it needs to be for a diagonal ball. Alright? So if Bergkamp's going to make a straight run, it needs to be for a diagonal ball. Alright? Straight run, diagonal pass. Diagonal run, straight pass. Very rarely do you get in on it's too easy to defend against, that's why. A straight pass, a straight run. Thank you for the question, Mikey. Hope that's helped you out a little bit. And one of the best number 10s that I've ever seen live in my life, and I've seen some wonderful players. So remember all the things we spoke about. Watch this video again if you need to recap on everything. I hope I've given you some more insight into the number 10 role and some of the things you should be looking at when you play this position. I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. I'll see you all again soon. Thanks a lot.